And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another UCF Jaguar live stream, man. It's been a little bit. I can't really remember the last time I actually officially went live on here. I've just been cranking out the videos like crazy, like nobody else, man. What's up, Devin? Tekken is my world. Sam Black, Stanley Pig. I got to go up to the first comment. I got to give a shout out to J-Man. J-Man actually joined a membership actually like at 2 o'clock or something like that today when this thing was still in kind of beta live mode. So that's what's up. It's Reese. What's going on, my man? Josh, CC boy. Jaguars Ken Knowledge. What's up, dude? Gary Lawrence with a very popular last name now, I must say. What's up, Zach Lyon? What's going on, everybody? So today we do have some, obviously, some football talk. What's up, Charlie boy? I'm not going to do an official Cleveland Browns preview video just because we don't know a lot about what's going to go on Sunday. So we're going to talk about that, this other training camp stuff, and also, just with CJ Henderson and the Michael Thomas stuff. Now we do have a question. Let's see if I can find it. Moon Illusion says, "Where is Jaguars United?" Funny you asked that, man. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. I'm going to bring Jason in this.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, we were live not too long ago, man. We were live on set. It was a great time.
Bro, all I know is that you said you weren't excited about Case Keenum coming in for the Browns and playing quarterback, bro. You're telling me you're not excited about the backup Browns?
Is that where Case Keenum is right now?
I was browsing the Browns subreddit, and they made it seem like Case Keenum was the quarterback. I don't really know.
It's just so funny, these backup quarterbacks. Like, you don't know where they're at. They're just like on a team. It's like, oh, he's over there right now. Oh, okay, this guy's over there.
One of the comments was like, I guess it's Case Keenum's time to shine. Like a legitimate comment. I was like, oh, lordy lord. Yeah. We're in preseason week 1.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, it did get announced that Baker Mayfield is not going to be playing. So, that's the first bit of news that came out. But now the real question is, I don't care about what's going on over there, man. I don't care about what's going on over there. Is Trevor Lawrence going to be playing on Saturday? What are your thoughts?
Bro, if I had to guess, I would say that Trevor Lawrence probably does play. I mean, Urban Meyer has told us one thing, and it's that he does not care about typical status quo, the way things have always been done in the NFL. I mean, this dude's on the brink of starting Gardner Minshew week 1. So
no, we're not bringing that.
Trevor Lawrence
we can talk about that on your channel, but over here we're not going to bring along that Gardner Minshew week 1 slander.
I'm just saying, Urban Meyer is not going to act like a normal coach. I could totally see Trevor Lawrence playing 2 series.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, we're so young. I mean, if we were flip positions and we were the Browns, I wouldn't play Baker Mayfield. But right now, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a rookie, and I think one thing that I really want to hear, I don't even care about if, like, obviously, like Baker Mayfield and stuff. I want to know, is Myles Garrett playing? Is Clowney playing? Like, that would be great if they're not in there, and then it's basically our ones against kind of their backups in a sense, because then we can actually go sling the ball around, and I feel a little more comfortable that Myles Garrett isn't coming around the edge going after Trevor Lawrence, if you know what I mean.
You bring up a good point. I mean, we're so focused on the quarterbacks, but I mean, there's a chance that DJ Chark doesn't play, Marvin Jones doesn't play, Laviska Shenault might not play, Travis Etienne or James Robinson. Like, these week 1 preseasons are essentially what Jaguars fans hoped Sunday would have been. It's all the backups and third strings playing, occasionally sprinkled in some starters, but it's going to be for no good use of reading what type of offense or how good we will be this season. So it'll be fun to watch our players in uniform and playing, but let's not read too much into these preseason games.
I mean, I think if Trevor Lawrence plays, I think all those guys play. I think Laviska Shenault's in there. Obviously, you're not going to put Trevor Lawrence out there with a backup offensive line. So the starting offensive line will play. I mean, I think we're just so young. I mean, our offense is comprised right now of like first and second year guys outside of the offensive line and Marvin Jones. So, man, I'm tired of this whole scared to play these players during the preseason crap. Like, I mean, last time we had preseason was 2019, and they were playing that soft crap where they were so scared to get, Nick Foles hurt. And then they were just caressing him all the way along. And then all of a sudden he does, last a quarter once the regular season actually starts. I'm not, trying to grow a pair of balls and not be so scared about playing them, if you know what I mean.
For sure. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, and if I were the coach, that's what I would do for sure. But I mean, do you think that some of these veterans will play? Like, do you think Marvin Jones, Miles Jack, Brandon Linder, do you think they're going to play? Like, those are the type of guys that typically don't.
I mean, on offense, I could see them playing. On defense, I mean, maybe not Miles Jack. And then like if and Brandon Linder, obviously, if like I said, if Trevor Lawrence is in there, the starting line is in there. I'm not trotting out. I'm not going to have Will Richardson, Tyler Shatley, and these guys protecting the most important asset
Casey McDermott
this team has ever had.
How dare you disrespect Casey McDermott, lineman from Miami, like that?
I mean, literally, the Trevor Lawrence hasn't played a regular season snap, nevertheless a preseason snap. I have 2 shirts. I have 1 jersey. I have a poster behind me. I've never been all in on a player before, and I'm not going to have T-Shat 69 out there, trotting out with Will Richardson's leaning, lanky ass out there. No, I'm not going to deal with that. So I do think that they play. Just being that this team is so young, and then if we're 5 years from now, if Trevor Lawrence is all that we think he is, I mean, I'm probably not even playing him at all in a preseason, maybe like two series in one of the final games. But I mean, we're at a point where we need rapid growth. You know what I mean? This is live bullets finally. I mean, it's just so much different right now between just like practice where they're basically 2-hand tagging each other and actual live bullets and stuff like that against a team with a different helmet color. And also we're not having any joint practices either. So it's like, that's another thing. It's like we're not like, do we really want Trevor Lawrence like only going against our team, but then all of a sudden his first set of action is out there, week 1 against Houston? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Part of me still relies on, like, I don't think it's even possible to kind of get in the mind of Urban Meyer. He does things that we don't typically think are normal. So there's no telling what Urban will do. For some reason, for me, I feel like this year, like Urban Meyer kind of has like a year buffer, and I feel like he knows it. Like the dude could win 3 games this year and be fine, right? Like the team, like we would have some expectations, but he kind of has a year to kind of do whatever he wants. So I think he knows that. And I mean, for some reason, that just makes me feel like he's going to like maybe not put all his cards on the table early. Like, I don't know. It's just a feeling I have, but I can see him like he's the type of coach that would kind of feel like he's trying to overthink and outthink everybody and him do something like, don't play Trevor Lawrence week 1 or play him in the preseason or, all these other things that he does. I mean, it's hard. It's just super hard because Urban is not a typical coach. He does things that he tries to go on that Bill Belichick tree of like, you can't figure out what he's doing. So he's going to say one thing and he's going to do the other. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I don't expect anybody really to play this first week. But it'll be interesting to see what happens throughout the preseason.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're differing opinions for sure, man. I think a bunch of the guys are going to play. I mean, maybe rest some defensive guys like Miles Jaguar. We're just such a young team. We have 1 less preseason game than usual. I mean, I just think we go out there and, we see some stuff. And like I said, I think also just not having a joint training camp practices, which a lot of teams are having. I think that's really going to kind of, influence what's going on.
Well, I mean, for me, I guess kind of what I'm going off of is like a lot of times when you see coaches that have that mentality of like, let them get out there and crack the pads, like typically you see that like in training camp too, right? Like early Doug Marrone, Tom Coughlin, like these dudes were out there cracking pads like first day of training camp, and then like all of a sudden you see a guy like Urban who we can't seem to get any film of them in pads. So it just for me, it kind of seems like if he's going to be that type of guy in training camp and in mini camp and rookie camp, like he's going to be that type of guy in preseason too. And hopefully I'm wrong because I want to see these guys play, but it would be strange to just all of a sudden see these guys going full speed when I don't think we've seen them go full speed 1 time in practice yet.
All right. We got a $5 donation from Josh Burns, and I appreciate the donation because he's going to help us kind of switch subjects over here. He says, I want Visca to change a tight end. That would open up the slot for Michael Thomas. DJ Chark, wide receiver 1, Marvin Jones, wide receiver 2, Michael Thomas slot, and Visca as tight end would be crazy. Well, I don't think there's any chance Visca would be a tight end. He just doesn't have that he's just not big enough. I mean, he's a big wide receiver, but he's not going to be inline blocking defensive ends or anything. And especially a switch right now. I mean, that would have to take place kind of in the offseason. So I don't think that would happen, but Michael Thomas, I do want to discuss him. So, I mean, Jason, do you want to kind of address you're a good X's and O's guy. What do you think about Viska at the tight end?
I was actually going to say, like, it's interesting that Josh Burns says that, because the first time I saw Viska's film when I started watching him, I can't remember who his first Pac-12 game, I can't remember who it was against. I want to say like Arizona or Arizona State, but they lined him up a bunch, like tight. I mean, obviously not an inline blocker like you're talking about, blocking a DN, but they lined him up tight, and the dude like knew how to crack back block. Like he could like come downhill and he could like hit a linebacker that wasn't expecting him, because he's a willing blocker, and you even see that down the field. And so I think Urban likes willing blockers, and I would argue that a wide receiver who can block down the field is just as important as a blocking tight end. So I think they leave Viska on the outside and lock up a safety, lock up a box strong safety that's inside like the front seven, and push him back 3 yards during the run play. That's just as valuable as a tight end. So I agree with you. I don't think Viska quite has like the size and body composition to line up next to a tackle, but they could use him schematically the same way to maybe block someone that's in the front seven, maybe like a box safety or a weak side linebacker or something like that. But Viska being a willing blocker and like wanting to hit people is like the reason why I'm like kind of crazy about Laviska for sure.
So with the Michael Thomas thing, man, I mean, I put out a video yesterday about Michael Thomas. I mean, I'm honestly super down for it. And I laid out my reasons yesterday, but I want to hear your thoughts about a potential like Mike Thomas trade. Obviously, if he was free, you would just take him right now, but obviously it's going to come with some trade scenarios. So what would you be willing to give up in order to kind of receive Mike Thomas?
I mean, this is going to sound crazy, and I don't know, but like I would be willing to give as much as a second round pick for him. Now I have to look at his contract and look at like what we would be on the hook for, but a guy like Michael Thomas, I would be okay with being on the hook for a while, and even at the high end of the salary cap range, because the dude is, to me, a top 3 receiver in the league. Like when I'm thinking top receivers, I'm thinking Devontae Adams, I'm thinking Michael Thomas, I'm thinking Stefan Diggs, and like that's where I go with it. So to get a top 3 receiver on this team locked up for the next couple of years to package with Trevor Lawrence, I would give up really as high as a second for him, to be honest. And I'm just a big believer in the wide receiver position, especially, I mean, Trevor, I mean, you instantly go from a decent receiving core. I mean, I see the word solid all the time on Twitter, a solid receiving core, to instantly one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's a trade I'm willing to make. Look at the second round picks that we've had in the last 10 years. Would you be willing to trade a guy like Michael Thomas for that? And for all the he's a diva, he complains, he doesn't like his team, whatever. Come on, he's a good receiver. I mean, he wants out of New Orleans. It literally happens all the time. We've had players do that here on multiple occasions. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery. I would be all in on Michael Thomas.
And big shout out to David Bryan for the $5 donation. He says Walker Little is a beast. He'll be the next Tony Baselli. I sure hope so. But I want to stick on the Michael Thomas scenario real quick. I mean, I put out a video yesterday and I got kind of a lot of people did not like my opinion on it, just because. And I understand. Look, if you're someone that says I don't want to take on that contract, that's okay. I can understand that. Or if you're a little bit concerned with really him in the locker room or whatever, with him punching the guy last year, then now like you got the whole injury thing, I understand that. But for people to say that, oh, we already have that player in DJ Chark, that is a huge leap. Huge leap. And I totally disagree on that. And guys, I'm at the point where like, look, like I think CJ Henderson is the Jaguars basically this offseason, they did everything they could to basically like make it to where they don't have to depend on CJ Henderson. I mean, CJ Henderson is obviously great right now. We could definitely use him, but we signed Shaquille Griffin. Now we have Tyson Campbell to play kind of the outside spot, slide Sidney Jones or something like that into the slot. And then, I mean, you have, a pretty decent starting 3 right there. But right now, New Orleans Saints are kind of looking around for a cornerback. I mean, you could package them into a trade with Michael Thomas, and all of a sudden you bring in Michael Thomas. And look, if you look at these teams that are in the AFC, NFC championship, they have like all pro type of players. I mean, right now we're kind of banking on Trevor Lawrence, being that great quarterback. But outside of that, like, who do we have that's like a bona fide all pro top 5 at their position player? Like, nobody. Like, if you look at Mike Thomas, like he steadily went better. Like his stats, it was like 1,100 yards rookie year, 1,300 yards, sophomore year, then third year, like 1,500. Then all of a sudden he exploded for like 1,700 yards and like 150 receptions, NFL record. The year before he got hurt, basically. I mean, this honestly, he's just so dangerous out there. He can do so many different things when it comes to, just being able to, and it's hard to cover him because he can run in, you can run outside. Sometimes it's really hard to kind of cover those guys in the slot because if you're on the outside, there's really only 2 ways you can go. You can go up to sidelines, or you can kind of, slant inwards. And I don't know. The guy's a terrific player. He's very physical. He's very big bodied. And man, like, I mean, to sit here and say, oh, wide receiver is one of the best positions on the team, we don't need him. I cannot agree with you at all on that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the two things, when you're coaching defensive backs, you talk about 2 things. The hardest thing to defend is the fade route or the corner route or the out route, because if there's a perfect throw and a perfect catch, it's literally uncoverable because it's just impossible. The second hardest thing to cover in football is the slant route. Like, so all these people that are like, oh, all Michael Thomas says is a slant route. It's like, well, duh. If he's really good at it and he's unstoppable in the slant, what do you think he's going to do? Like, they're going to use him to his strength. So, yeah, he does run a lot of slant routes. It's because he's insanely hard to cover. His release at the line of scrimmage, the move he can make on a defensive back, how big and physical he plays at the snap, makes him almost uncoverable when he releases inside. So, yeah, that's why he runs a lot of slants. To say this receiver core is fine is kind of asinine to me, because there's going to be injuries. There's going to be a talent gap between what the fans think and what is a reality. And there's going to be a slight learning curve for Trevor Lawrence. So I don't know. Bring in the best players you can.
And I want to get a couple quick donations real quick. Shout out to Jesus is King with a $5 donation. So what's going on with CJ? Does he want to be here, or is he on the trade block? We'll get to that one in a minute. Thank you so much, as always, for the donation. Also, a big shout out to Southside Jaguar with a $5 donation. It says, cool meeting you at training camp this weekend, but CJ doesn't have the right attitude for a Baltimore-type defense. Yeah, man, it was good meeting you too. Met him right at the end of the training camp practice. Got to spend a few minutes with him. Definitely cool meeting you. Came down from Atlanta to come to the Jaguar training camp. Nice. So I thought I was dedicated. This guy's coming down from North Georgia over here. Gotta love it. But yeah, CJ Henderson, going back to Jesus King's question, one thing about him right now is, like, it's great that he's reporting to camp. You know what I mean? Because him reporting to camp right now is driving up that trade value. It's driving up the trade value. And as I don't want to sit here, I really don't want to offload CJ Henderson for picks. We've done that in the past. It just never works. It's hard. It's sometimes hard to hit on these draft picks. But I mean, if you can throw in like a Michael Thomas into the scenario, you know what I mean? That's going to spice it up for them. And then Saints are in cap trouble. I mean, you take on Michael Thomas's contract. And also, once the season ends this year, the final game is over, and then we enter the offseason. The biggest need is receiver, because DJ Chark is out here. It's a contract year. His contract expires. And then you have Marvin Jones, who signed a 2-year deal, so he has 1 year left on that deal. Then you have a bunch of, you have Laviska Shenault on his rookie deal, and you have, a bunch of guys like, Treadwell, Colin Johnson. So, I mean, you got to invest either a high draft pick or some money into somebody. And then, I mean, you look at it and, like, how do a lot of teams acquire different great players? I mean, it's very hard to acquire an all-pro through free agency. It really is. I mean, the way teams get them and the way they trade teams is like the Rams obviously got Jalen Ramsey from us. You look at the Colts, they trade a first-round pick for DeForest Buckner, and then they sign him to a deal. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to go out here and you have to spend, you have to give up some draft picks and then bring them in and spend some money on them. So, I mean, I want to, I don't know. I'm not fully in on CJ Henderson. I mean, not that I think he I just don't think he wants to be here. Obviously, I don't like his attitude, and we did everything this offseason to where we don't have to really depend on him.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm excited about TJ Henderson. I mean, look, I want to get your opinion on this, and I hate saying this because I'm a bad guy here when I say this. I'm like, I hate putting you in this position because this is completely not fair to you, but it is what it is. I have a gun to your head. Is CJ Henderson going to be starting week 1 for the Jaguars? Gun to your head, you have to answer.
No, absolutely not. The big question, gun to the head, is like, is he on a team week 1? I mean, I don't think the Jaguars just going to offload him for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're just going to. I mean, they're going to hold on to him, and a team. I mean, as long as he's reporting, a team's going to want to get him. I mean, he's got a very awesome contract. I mean, you're not trading for, like a Marcus Lattimore where he's going to carry this huge cap hit and everything with them. And he's on a rookie contract, 3 years left in an extra year of control with a 5th-year option. I mean, he's relatively cheap for any of these teams. And, he's showing up. There's going to be these high ego guys. Like every coach and every GM's a high ego guy. That's how they get up there. They're going to say, you know what? I can change this guy, bring him into my culture, whether it be like the Ravens or whether it be the, like the Saints in this scenario. Yeah, we're gonna get this guy right. So, Mr. Icemel says if we trade CJ, it should be for a tight end. Sorry, guys, I'm off the tight end stuff now, man. I mean, we've showed every implication that we're not after a tight end. You know what I mean? It's I mean, we could have gotten him. I mean, there's Trey Burton out there that's free right now. I think Urban Meyer in this offense, I think they just want to take these tight ends and just run the ball with them. You know what I mean? I mean, it shows like the only tight end that we got in free agency was a big mauler and Chris Manhertz. And then you go out there in the draft and get another guy that's, a blocking type of a tight end with Luke Farrell out of Ohio State. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are talking about that guy Ellison. I'm trying to get I'm trying to send James Coleman hit me up about getting on. So I don't know if you want to find him on Twitter and just send him a
yeah, man. Let me look him up.
But I mean, I definitely think that a lot of people are talking about Ellison on this team. I had a bunch of people on my channel the other night talking about Ellison and how the offense has revolved around him so much. And the thing about the tight end position is like it's going to be used so many different ways. You brought up Luke Farrell. Dude, Luke Farrell lined up in so many different formations at Ohio State. I watched that dude play in what we would call an offset I fullback. So think about where a fullback would be, not in the I formation. Luke Farrell's there. He's leaking out. He's catching the ball in space. He had like 2 touchdowns in their bowl game. Like the dude, like literally like capitalized on the biggest games of his career. Like in every bowl game, Luke Farrell went off. So if you're a coach or a scout and you're watching him and you're watching like his biggest games, because that's what I do. I watch these players in their biggest game against the best competition. Then I see how they perform. And Luke Farrell literally balled every time he was in a bowl game and anytime he played good competition. So I'm really excited about Luke Farrell. I mean, I don't know if he plays a lot this year, but he can't be any worse than my boy James Oliver. Or whatever his name
Josh
is.
Oliver.
Josh Oliver.
Put some respect on this man's name. I'm not gonna
Please tell me you saw the videos of Josh Oliver going up over the DB like he's freaking Randy Moss. Please tell me where that came from.
I'm still on the camp of we shouldn't have just given away for free. I would have liked to kind of see him out there and just, I mean, they literally just gave him to like the Ravens for nothing. But I want to get to a couple quick donations. Skidsy with a $5 donation. What's up, my man? He just throws a Duval in here. Always a good. Yo, Skidsy, you got Duval emojis, man. You don't got to be spelling it out for us. Also, Josh Burns says we need you both to do the Jaguar commentary on game day, play-by-play. UCF, your GOAT, and Jason is the man. Yo, I mean, I do play-by-play just on the YouTube, man. Just on the YouTube. So,
and I drink too much liquor in the Sky Patio Zone. So there we go.
Yeah, if you guys want to go over to the games, you guys can get drunk with with Jason. But if you guys want to do everything virtually, you guys want a virtual drinking party, that's when you come over to me, man, because we got people all over the United States over here that like to do this thing. So Richmond Gravy Bear says, how many and which picks y'all think they will hit for it? I mean, this year, a bunch of them, man. This year, we definitely got a bunch of them, but we do have a guest backstage. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. We got Big Game James here.
Yes,
From the
sir.
Sports Den. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, dude? Man, that was wow. Like, it's very. We're not as fancy, God, dog. I need your camera.
Yo, it's a Canon, man. I upgrade. I invest into my channel. I gotta say.
Right now, I'm over here. I thought I paid all this money for this iPhone. I thought it was gonna give me a bit of the camera as that. But like that's hella dope. But yeah, man. You know, obviously, we got a little hiatus from 10-10 right now. So just trying to figure this stuff out. And I almost died, so I'm alive.
Bro, James, let me tell you, man, you guys are the absolute best show on earth. I had the privilege of coaching with Denny at Providence School for 1 year, man, and the most genuine guy. I mean, legit. All the accolades about him being an amazing coach, an amazing quarterback whisperer, an amazing offensive coordinator and play caller are correct. But on top of that, dude, the guy has a heart of gold. And Denny affected me. He coached me, even though I was on the coaching staff. And man, the second I heard that you guys were taking a break from 10-10, I was like, bro, I want to do everything I can to help you guys, man. I love you guys. You guys are literally the best show on the radio by a mile.
Break is I'm not going back. So Denny's going to do stuff with 10-10, but well, you never know what will happen. But as of right now, I don't see me ever going back to 10-10 itself. So, but
hey James, you're welcome on here anytime, man. We got a big group in here. I mean, we have 214 people in here right now to watch a 1-15 football team, man. I mean, Jaguar fit. We show out, man. We show out. Everybody's hype right now. And
I'm not a Jags fan per se. My son, my 8-year-old is like super Jag and loved every opportunity that I got with being 10. Took advantage of it. But he grew up in it. So like he thinks that they're kids on the field, like that are like him. So he's 2 years old, sees grass and people running with a ball, and he's mad because I have to snatch him off. I'm like, you can get your dad arrested out here. But I will say what I am a fan of is Jaguar fans. Bow City Brigade, all of this stuff. Like even with my book bag drive, everybody stepped up. Like the fan base is so dope. And like even when we would tell the truth about the Jags and stuff, and we try to do it in a because the whole premise of our show, The Sports Den, is kind of like it's just two guys hanging out in a den and we're talking, and everybody else is hanging out with us, and we're talking like friends. I can go if you would like, I could go ESPN corporate on you, but that's just not fun to me.
Nah, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Yeah, we're in that same boat, man.
And like to me, it's like I played this game, man. And I get mad at Leon and I talk to other cats. I'm like, you know it's not supposed to work like that. You know it's not. Why are you talking like them? We're different, but you know, we like to hang out, and the Jags have given us some of the best moments as a radio show. We threw a watch party at this place called Wicked Barley when it first opened, packed it out. It was a Thursday night game.
Oh yeah.
Jags got their ass whooped, and it was halftime. Like, but we stayed the whole time. But it's just like dope interacting with a lot of guys, and I love to appreciate the support, man. Anytime, like, shoot, I go where I'm asked, man. You asked me to come on the show, like I just happened to see it. Like I said, I couldn't see it because our phones, we're broadcasting from our phones. So like that's the only reason I would have responded. I would have been here at 9.
Dude,
Yeah,
well,
man,
for sure. I mean, I watched you talking about your experience with COVID, bro, and you were literally breaking my heart, man. Only because I had no clue. I was like, man, I wish I could have really thrown up some prayers for you or something like that, man. But dude, we are so glad that you're okay and that you're fine, dude. Like I said, you're the only show that I would like made sure I would listen to on the radio. I mean, it was awesome, man.
Just as a guy, like ICU is not where you want to be at, and that's where I was at. And it was touch and go, and like, you know, get the vaccine. Even if you don't get the vaccine, just understand people are scared, and like don't be a jerk, okay? Like just you can have your thoughts and your comments, but understand that people are dealing with stuff, and like you in that room by yourself, man. I'm like a lot of time, like now when I'm talking now, especially, it doesn't have as much air in my voice. Like, sound like I still got like pneumonia. But I'm just grateful to be here, man. But like, yeah, wasn't trying to make people cry. I really don't want that kind of show, but we felt it was pretty serious to let people know why I didn't talk to people for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a touching story, my man. And I know our hearts go out to you. I mean, I listen to your show all the time. I liked your show because it really felt like almost like right in between like a regular 1010XL show and something like this, where it just felt like you guys were as unfiltered as it really gets, which I appreciated. It didn't seem super structured. Like I said, it's a bunch of friends just kind of talking around, and definitely it's pretty cool to have you on this show, for sure. But I definitely want to ask you, man, like, I assume you're probably going to be checking out the Jaguars on Saturday. Is there anything in specific you're going to be looking for? Do you think Trevor Lawrence is going to get some work on Saturday, or what are your overall thoughts about it?
I mean, they've got to get him some kind of situational stuff in a game and to see what it's like, especially with the rules with the NFLPA, where DBs couldn't break on the ball like in the first couple practices. So like you're not even getting the full experience when you do get to practice, let alone like, and that's what it's supposed to be about. And on top of that, you've still got guys who are first year players who still have a lot of kinks and a lot of things that they need to work out. So, and Herbs has to figure out how to coach a game. So while you can't go out there and you only get 3 of these bad boys. So while Herbs can't go out here and like have him playing a full game, but you also can't go in and just have Minshew out here like straight up balling, because the one thing I will say, and my bad if you hear crying in the background, I got to put my 2-year-old. But Minshew ain't just letting him come and take the job from him, which makes my level of appreciation for Minshew go like through the roof. Because I'm like, nah, dog, you draft who you want. I'm not letting him see the field. And if he makes a mistake, I'm gonna make sure I don't make one, which is either gonna make Trevor that much better, or he'll fold. But I think I think he's gonna get at least 2 series, and I actually think we're gonna look really good, all things being considered, in this first preseason game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, especially, I mean, like I said, the Jaguars, they don't have any like joint practices this year. So it's like, and we have a bunch of first and second year guys. I mean, I can understand like the Browns, they're not playing Baker Mayfield. I mean, I wouldn't be playing Baker Mayfield either. But the Jaguars right now, they're in a situation where not only is Trevor Lawrence a rookie, but, you have like both your running backs with ETN and James Robinson, first and second year guys. I mean, you have second year Laviska Shenault. You have a brand new offense together, man. Like, and especially if, like the Browns, that they're not playing like Myles Garrett and stuff like that, and there's really doesn't seem like a lot of risk. Like, just throw them out there. I'm tired of like bending over during the preseason and acting like you're so scared to get these guys hurt when you have a 17-game schedule. Like, go out there, get like 2 drives in. And I think Urban Meyer, like you said, man, he's never coached before. Like, you got to get his feet wet, man. Got to really put the pads on right now, because they haven't really done any tackling to the ground or anything. Trevor Lawrence hasn't faced live bullets since he got his bell rung against Ohio State. So, I mean, I want to see him, and I'd be super disappointed if I don't.
As competitive as Urban has been making it from like the clips that I've seen, they got to win, like a win breakfast, win lunch, win dinner type mentality. Go 3-0 in the preseason. I know that's like we just don't know how to win. And all I've heard, and this is the beautiful thing about being with Denny, because Denny's from here. So, and he's telling me about what it was like when the Jags first got here. So in the mid 90s, early 2000s, when stuff was really rocking. I've only been here since 2007. I only know 2017 as a good year. And that was weird to me in the media standpoint, because we were like, normally we're ready for college recruiting, and like it was so fun that we had no schedule. Like First Coast News, when I was doing stuff, we didn't know what the hell to do after that. But like, you don't know how to win. You got a bunch of first and second year players. Just go out there and just dominate and cheer and be ignorant when it comes to these wins. And yes, the league is going to pick on us and say it's just preseason this. The league picks on us for everything anyway. So what does it matter now? Get these guys in the mentality that I'm going to go out here and dominate every opportunity. And I think you'll start seeing that at least affect you in the first 6-7 weeks of the season. Now, after that, it's a long ass season. So like you're gonna wear down. But who cares? Like, if we win 6 games, like I think I predicted 7 or 8. But if we win that many games, man, that's a hell of an improvement. Bring in a couple extra guys that are pretty decent in the next year, and you build on that. You have a 3-year plan. So by year 3, we should either be dominating the division or know without a shadow of a doubt that we're a playoff contender.
So is there – I just got to ask you because I want to know how you feel about this. Any chance Michael Thomas joins the team as a wide receiver? Any chance at all?
That's where it seems like C.J. Henderson.
Well, or just a general trade. I mean, Michael Thomas obviously wants out. Any chance he ends up here?
I think so, and I think it's what stinks is because DJ Chark is out, and even though it's just a finger, but like, okay, this is the benefit of being on this show. We're privy to information that everybody else isn't privy to.
Come on, man, let's go.
Like, didn't he run this? If you never heard of 6, I'm gonna brag on my dog. You never heard of 6 points, and you got a kid that's a quarterback, you might want to get him in there. And it's not just the kids. It's like he gets all the Jag players. So He was telling me about how good of a route runner Marvin Jones is. And I'm like, nobody gets rid of a number 1 wide receiver. If he was that damn good, he wouldn't have been there. And yes, he's had good seasons, but it ain't our wide receiver core lacks a number 1. I've been saying that for a while. Until he showed me the clips. Damn, Marvin Jones run and it was the route that Marvin Jones ran compared to the same route that DJ Chark, the way DJ Chark ran it, and it was night and day. I was like, oh, so that's how a number 1 wide receiver runs. So now you get somebody else, you got 2 guys who are elite route runners. So Chark becomes your 3, but he becomes an elite 3. Like, all of a sudden, your wide receiver core is crazy, which also ups your win total, because at the end of the day, it's a passing game. On top of the fact that you got possibly the best rookie slot in your wide receiver in Travis Etienne. How do I know he's the best rookie slot? Because he whooped my alma mater's ass for 4 years, and I was seeing what he can do. On top of the fact that he's a good runner, on top of the fact that James Robinson ain't chopped liver. And I don't understand why people are even, like, to be honest with you, I still don't really 100% fully get the Etienne pick. Phenomenal player, love him. But what James Robinson was able to do last year on a trash team, knowing that he's the only thing that you're going to do with an offensive line that only cops an attitude when they're talking to 5'2", 95-pound reporters and Mia O'Brien, that they would get that bad and do a block better. But again, I digress. My point is that, yes, we got – and I just realized we're still like $30 million under the damn cap. Man, you know what? Trade me. I'll sacrifice myself to go to – Last time I went to New Orleans, I left broken, overweight, and they cut. But the point is give them what they need to get to make that happen. Even though I hope Jameis does well, but I don't cover the Saints. And I will say this again: even though I proclaim myself not to be a fan, it's a whole hell of a lot better to recover the Jags when they're winning. I can't take FSU being trash and Jacksonville being trash at the same time. It's very hurtful. It's probably why I got COVID.
And I want to weigh in on that real quick. But first, we have 219 people in here, man. Shout out to everybody. I want to give some shout outs to all the members of the channel, from the Cubs to the Big Cats and the Pride of UCF Jaguar. I actually have right now fantasy football opening up for the members of the channel if you guys kind of want to get in on that. And also a huge shout out to Cameron Wallace at Cameron Wallace Designs for kind of helping out with the thumbnail work right now. Definitely super clutch. So give him a follow on Instagram. His links are right down below. And also drop likes if you guys can, man. Definitely helps out the algorithm. So with the Michael Thomas situation, now it's definitely advantageous for the Saints to keep him because, like, literally, if they trade him, they have to eat like $32 million of dead cap. So you definitely have to incentivize them, and that's why C.J. Henderson, giving him to them, that almost offsets some things in a way because you're not taking on a cornerback that's due for a big paycheck. This guy's on a rookie deal, and you have a lot of control over him. You know, you're trading him to a team that is kind of in cap hell. I don't know how they do it. Like they're in cap hell, but they keep signing guys. But they're in a bad cap situation. And I look at it, and like with Michael Thomas last year, it was sketchy with him because I don't know if you guys know the story, but basically after the season ended, they were kind of going back and forth about whether Michael Thomas should get surgery or whether he should rehab it himself. He said, no, I'm going to rehab it myself and I'll come back healthy and everything. And then for 3 months between the end of the season and OTAs, he wasn't picking up his phone. Complete distant communication from the Saints. And then he comes back and he didn't rehab himself at all. So that like really pissed them off. And then a lot of Jaguar fans are concerned about like maybe there's character issues, like how he punched the guy last year. And if I were a situation where Doug Marrone was the head coach right now,
punches him. Everybody, I just wanted to put that out there. He's a Florida Gator. The DB. Every punches you, then you're just a punchable person. I just wanted to put that out.
Okay. So anyway, basically, like in that situation, it's like if Marrone was the head coach, I'd be like, I don't want to get him. Like, we're not going to fix him. If he's not good with the Saints, he won't be good here. But he has like a real special like relationship with Urban Meyer. Like, I'll see if I can pull this up, but he had a quote basically from Urban Meyer, basically saying, let me see if I can pull this up. So he said, Michael Thomas made a tweet when Urban Meyer basically retired from Ohio State. He says, breaking news, Urban Meyer is retiring, considering moving on to work with the Saints, which is perfect. Love you, Coach Urban Meyer. I shed a tear every time thinking about the impact you had on my life and many other individuals. You provided me the tools for success. So it's like, if there's anybody that can get him out of this funk, it's going to be Urban Meyer, man. And you're telling me that you don't want to bring in here like a bona fide all-pro player? I know he had a down year, but come on, man. He's going into his 6th NFL season. We're not like over here trying to bring in Dez Bryant and trying to resurrect a corpse. Like, it's Michael Thomas, man. Like, let's stop being in this mindset that what we have is good enough. Like last year, a bunch of players were like, oh, Minshew's good, but if we just get more talent around him, stop it, man. Our wide receiver room is we don't have an all-pro. You know what I mean? Our best player right now is a Marvin Jones, who's great, but he's on he's in his 30s. Laviska Shenault's going into his 2nd year. And then, DJ Chark is a big question mark. I mean, Urban Meyer did not like his tape from last year. He's going out here. He's like, Urban Meyer's working really hard with him. And, big game James comes in here and basically tells me that, his route running is just like so subpar compared to, Marvin Jones. So it's like, come on, man, let's stop accepting mediocrity and bring in here a guy that can really make a difference.
That's wow.
That's my take on him. From a Jaguar fan that's just been like around media. And look, 4 years ago, I would have been like, no, keep the draft capital. No, I'm done with it, man. I want to win. Shout out to Steve Boston with a $5 donation. Me and Jason hashed this out the other night, UCF. They ain't going to want somebody who seems unsure about playing on the play. So you're talking about CJ Henderson? Or are you talking about I don't know, man.
Yeah, CJ.
Here's what I think about, again, in that situation and what makes it unique, right? And we were talking, and I'm trying to remember his name because he gets on my nerves too, but punchable face corner or safety.
On the Jaguars?
No, for the Saints. Why Michael Thomas got in trouble?
Chauncey Gardner Johnson, was it? Yeah.
Chauncey's a freaking head case. But Chauncey and CJ are former teammates. So you're bringing him in with somebody who, sometimes it's volatile to bring two head cases together, but it works sometimes as well. So like they can help lean on each other a little bit more. There's more to it. To put it frankly, I can't think of his name. Local kid here in Jacksonville plays for the Bears. Played at Ed White, played for Georgia.
What position?
Sorry, CTE. Apologize. But anyways, he punched him. And he is the nicest kid I've ever met in my life. I'm sitting here like, unfortunately, he didn't train here in the offseason because we were going to get him on the sports day. And I was going to ask him, what made you punch him? And, because something clicked. But I think, like, again, taking CJ, putting him over there in a situation where he's comfortable, kind of away from let me put this out there because I don't know if people know. CJ is not a bad kid. He's dealing with some true it's a mental health stuff like that. He really needs the help work for. And I've seen it happen. Like you can't really take, like when you take so there's medicines that you take to help you get with this stuff, right? The problem is that medicine isn't why you got drafted. It affects the reason why you got drafted sometimes. So it's a catch-22, but it affects your moods and things like that. So like that's without me giving a true diagnosis and going all into it, but that's just a snippet. But sometimes the familiarity comfortability, and you're kind of in a situation where all you can focus on is football. You're away from family, you're away from this, and then you have some guys that you went through the mud with. I think that helps. And now you take that same thing with Michael Thomas, like you were just talking about his relationship with Urban Meyer. You bring him over here. Now you got two guys who got a change of scenery, and it dramatically affects their careers and their lives and the trajectory. So that's why I think it could actually be something that really benefits everybody. More importantly, the Jags, because all of a sudden you went from having a C wide receiver room, C, maybe a C plus, to a B plus locker room. I'm not gonna say A, but because there's still question marks. It's like Laviska Shenault is dynamic in himself. I apologize for not even bringing him up. You still have, and again, it's not that DJ Chark isn't any good. It's just that DJ Chark isn't the number one wide receiver to carry your team like you would want him to be. And now with a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who has a propensity to throw the ball downfield, unlike Minshew, who's a check down type guy because of, and here's some non-quarterback guru breakdown. When you're 5'11", the world looks a lot different behind that line of scrimmage than when you're like over 6'4".
Yep.
Like so you can look downfield, you can't see over the line. And I'm telling you that as a guy who's been there before. You on your tippy toes trying to diagnose blitzes, and that's just not a good. That never works out well. So that's kind of one of Gardner's flaws. Russell Wilson does it better than anybody, finding the little lanes to be able to throw in. Gardner ain't been able to find that, and that's not optimal for your quarterback. But when you got wide receivers that are running routes and getting open, it makes all your guys look better.
Well, James, UCF always wants to talk to you about the Jaguars for some weird reason. I would ask you questions about you. I got two questions for you.
Right.
One, have you ever thought about going into like the business of being like an agent as like a life coach? Because, life coaches are like the buzz now. You could, parents of kids will pay you to be life coaches and to, speak wisdom like you're speaking into their life. And question two, what is it like to be the only Florida State fan at a radio station full of Gator fans? Like, tell us like how that happens and the feelings of that.
A life coach needs to have their life together. And I'm probably not the best person when it comes to that. But I love coaching, right? And I love training athletes. And that's what I did when I got done playing in the NFL. I did that I did that up until like a year and a half in. And ironically, when I was resurrected from the hospital, my phone's blowing up with people wanting me to train them again. So that's really where I come in. And it's really just about mentality. And I guess technically that makes me kind of a life coach for kids like that. But it's nobody's coming to save you type of mentality. And that doesn't mean you don't rely on people or do anything. It just means you develop yourself, you toughen yourself up enough to where you develop a platform or you develop something that's profitable. And if you do it to a high level, people are going to rock with you. America loves a winner. We hate losers. So if you're winning, other people are going to see that and they're going to want to attract and want to build that. But sometimes some of us need a little bit of help and a little bit of rubbing off on each other. And that's kind of what happens. And always be prepared. Even the relationship with me and Denny, we didn't like people think we have a phenomenal relationship right now that's grown over 6 years of working with each other day in and day out. I didn't really know him from Adam when we first started. It started when he left Providence and was at Sandalwood, and he needed some ideas on how to set up a running game. And I showed him this simple running game that we did when I was at Ponte Vedra. And then from there, a year later, we started talking about, or maybe 2 years later, we started talking about radio. And then it flourished from there. Now, what is it like to be the only FSU fan in a station full of Gators? It's like it's terrible because we suck. When I first started, like, I loved it because I was coming in there talking mad trash. And the problem is that it's not that they're Gators. Denny's a Gator, right? Denny's rational. Like, Denny's not going to come in every week and say, oh, we're about to win the national championship. And that's what bothers me because I'm like, they're professionals. I try to be professional, and I'm trying to, like, be stuff. But I'm like, yo, you legit went on air and said that. Like, so not as a fan, like, you legit as a professional went on there crafted that statement and canonized it to where it goes over the airways. I was like, and you're in a better time slot than me? I was like, I told some of them, I wouldn't say some of that stuff at 8 to 10. Like, because children are listening. Children might be listening. Like, you're over here influencing the next generation of children, lying to them. And it's more so like, it's more so like the fact that, okay, the Gators are the greatest. But when they talk about rivals that are literally whooping their ass with the outside of last year with Georgia, and then teams that you're better than, but like, who cares? Like, UCF could have beat Florida State last year. Like, that's not, or the last 2 years. And no offense to UCF, I'm just saying, like, you're a better program right now. And that's me being honest, right? But like, you're over here bragging, and dude, we all watching the same bowl games during the holidays. When Florida State was dominant and when we were on top, nobody could touch us. We were beating the hell out of UF. We were beating the hell out of Miami, and we were going to New Year's Day bowls or playing in the playoff game or playing for a national championship. We're down. Ain't none of us like the SEC was a championship was a joke. We knew they wasn't beating Bama. And Miami fan talks a lot of trash, but y'all haven't been. 2001, I was a junior in high school when they won. No, excuse me. I was a senior in high school when they won their national championship. That is a long time ago. Right? But again, so going in every day, hearing that, I'm just like, come on, guys. Let's just be professional and tell the truth. None of us are good. But nobody wants to do that. That's just my 2 cents. Good.
So I want to give a quick shout out to Gary Lawrence. He threw a $16 donation in here. I think I understand where the 16 came from, and also awesome last name. He wants to know what our 3 predictions on the season record will be for the Jaguars. I'll go first. I think they're gonna be around like the 6 to 8 mark if I had to put money on it. So I'm just gonna go out here. I'm gonna be on the optimistic side and say, and based on the division, 8 and 9.
I'm gonna go like just close to that. I talk about this all the time, so people that are watching this have heard me talk about it all the time. So everyone, I mean, I'm the 9 and 8 range, but I'd love for you, James, to give your prediction and expound on it. I'll wait because I mean they hear us talk all the time. So tell us your prediction and expound on it.
I'm gonna say 7 and 10, and a lot of it. Well, I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna give Meyer 4 wins by himself with the organization, and guys actually wanted to play. They were a 1-15 team because that's what their record says, but they were in competition to get Trevor Lawrence. So they weren't a real 1-15 team. They probably could have won 4 or 5 games. So I'm going to give Herb 4. I'm going to give 3 to just saying that because the division isn't any good. And it's got worse with Carson Wentz going down. We don't know what the heck. Like, we got catfish with the Deshaun Watson thing, but he ain't going to be in Texas. He ain't going to be with the Texans. We all know that. And even if he was, they still stink. He's just good. And then I don't think we're beating Tennessee. Tennessee's Tennessee. They're the best team in the division right now. But I'm going to give 3 wins, in that area, and plus you're going to play a duck. But I think if nothing else, you're going to see what we talk about on Sports Den is playing competent football, meaningful football in November. Like, we just don't want to be talking about the draft in November. So I think we'll be in December before we're fully eliminated from the playoffs. And that's like that's exciting to me. And then from there, we're talking about playoff position draft position and who we want to get. And I think we're at a level where you want to have some mid-tier picks. Like, if that mid-round pick, like you don't need every year have a top 3 pick. Like that means we suck and there's no hope. But if we can get like a top 15 guy, and it's a good defensive tackle, so that we can replace the abomination that's Taven Bryan. I think that means the Jags are going to progress. So I'm gonna go 7 to 10.
Yeah, man. I do want to say that like the Tennessee Titans made a big dick move and went out there and got Julio Jones, a wide receiver. Why don't we show us that ours is bigger and go out and get Mike Thomas? That's all I'm saying, man.
That would be
because I think that put them that kind of accelerated them a lot, and that's almost like, oh crap, like a little bit of distance. But man, we gotta go out there and do something like that. Tekken is my world to the Art Nation. Where'd you get that hat, UCF? I got this one at the town center at the Lids over there. I don't think you can get it online. I think it's a local thing, but I got this from the Lids. Steve Boston with a $5 donation. Predictions on total sacks and forced turnovers for the year. I don't even know what a total. Jason, you're a stat guy. What's a?
I mean, I'm a stat guy, but I've been a Jaguar fan since I was born. So when we're talking about total sacks, I mean, if I'm calculating it in my head on the good end, I'm giving Josh Allen 7. Maybe.
That's a bad year for Josh Allen. If you only get 7.
Okay, this is. I mean, James, you can give us your total sack total and turnovers, but I'll tell you one of my chief concerns for the Jaguars this year. And I've made this known. And honestly, I think it's intentional. I think Urban is going to address it next year via draft and free agency. But the issue that I'm really concerned with, and hopefully you can talk me off the ledge, is basically the interior defensive line. The big DNs and the nose tackle, I feel like that's where we're the weakest. I mean, you mentioned Taven being trash. We all agree with you there. But, I mean, I know these guys have, like, showed up in camp and, like, they look good, whatever. But are we going to be able to stop the run? Because last year we couldn't stop the run. So we had to bring in the interior linebackers close to the line of scrimmage. Then the quarterbacks are throwing behind them. And really the chief concern, we were one of the worst teams of all time last year stopping the run. And I know the 3-4 change moves those guys out to the edge. Are you concerned at all with those 3 defensive interior linemen there at the line of scrimmage?
I'm not so much concerned at the nose. I don't. Again, a lot of it I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think we're stout enough there. That's where, if I'm being honest, where I would have loved that second first round pick to be, or if it wasn't second, like the early second, but because I don't think it was addressed near enough. But schematically speaking, I think you could be okay. I'm trying to think the Mike linebacker from Cleveland that we got.
Schobert.
That's really where Schobert comes in, and I don't want Schobert doing anything but going downhill. Basically, he's in. Okay, I never liked Pazlowski. Like we played against each other in college. I didn't like him in college. I don't understand why he was the linebacker of the year in college. And I think he's okay as an NFL player. Phenomenal person, looks great in the suit. As far as a linebacker, just not my cup of tea. But I will say what he did do a better job of than most was going downhill. And he was a true Mike linebacker, which I was vehemently opposed when everybody was trying to make Miles Jack a Mike linebacker. He's just not. That's not what he does. He's a freestyler. You need to put him in a position to where he can roam, and he'll be so much better than you. So I think that 3-4 situation helps us with those 2 guys there, and with Josh Allen being bigger, that kind of gives you the collapse on the end that you need. Now, what's scary is what is Clavon Chase-Young, because when I saw, however you say his name, I learned how to say his name when he becomes good. But when I saw Walker Little escort him out the club, that terrified me. That is not a position that any man should be in where you have no control over what you do and another man has complete control. At least not my first round defensive end going up against a 3rd round or 4th round tackle. But, that's really the only way they're going to be able to apply pressure on the running game right now is the scheme and run fits. The only way we're going to know that is when the season starts. So it's an unfortunate thing.
You see, I'm not as concerned about the interior as I kind of am on the outside guys, because like when it comes to, I know we're playing a little bit different of a defense this year, but when it comes to like run stopping, like defense or like outside linebackers, what is it going to be like Josh Allen, Kayvon Chason, and then like, I mean, what else is out there? I mean, we brought in guys like Malcolm Brown, Roy Robertson Harris, a bunch of interior guys. I don't know if we have enough around the edges to be able to, I feel good about the interior. I just worry about kind of the, those outside linebackers when it comes to running type of downs.
I'll tell you this much: when you do a Jaguars podcast and you really can't name the guys, or you cover the Jaguars, and you can't name the help. That's kind of scary. I mean, that's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith that you got to rely in on guys. But I will say, maybe again, Urban's trying to win as much as he can win this year. I do believe that. And look at what you have then, and make the correction and make the assessments after that. I think that's the faith and the hope that I'm having in a one Urban Meyer right now. So I even though it's weird as an FSU guy, I do have faith in Urban Meyer as a winner. And I was a proponent of I wanted them to make that hire over anybody else. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt until he causes me to continue to doubt more than as much to my benefit.
It's hard to when it comes to the defensive line, it's hard to project them because there's so much new things happening, whether it's guys coming back from injury like Devon Hamilton or Josh Allen, or like new guys like Roy Robertson Harris, and there's like Jihad Ward, or guys that we need to step up, guys like Kayvon Chason. It's just and we traded for like Malcolm Brown, we drafted Jay Tufele. There is like a lot going on the D line. It's really hard right now from our perspective, where some of us have kind of gotten into training camp and watched it a little bit. I mean, that's the main thing I'm gonna be looking at during a preseason game. It's like, okay, where are these guys lining up? Like, what how do they do? Like, I want somebody, at least a couple players, to really emerge from preseason and be like, man, like Jay Tufele, our third round pick this year, dude, he balled out or something like that. That's a big thing that I want to see.
Hey, I mean, and you're right. Like, the hardest part is, one, is predicting this, the not impossible, but predicting what you've never seen before. And so, because you got a bunch of new players, a new defense, that I'm only going from what a standard traditional 3-4 is, but I hope we don't run that. I hope we run something that's a little bit trickier, because again, I'm afraid. But the one thing about a 3-4 that it's supposed to help against the run, because you got an odd number of defensive linemen, and it's supposed to confuse. You're supposed to be able to confuse the offensive line by them not knowing who that fourth and that fifth guy is going to be. That being said, when you're getting mugged and you're getting mauled, it is actually, from an offensive perspective, especially as a fullback, it is the best defense to play, because you got two natural gaps automatically that are there, and when you're, all I see is Derrick Henry, and how big and how fast he is, and that's not going to help. So, but again, I have to. It's because again, a lot of these coaches that Herb's hired too, so they have. I don't know if they're good coaches. They're just not all A+. So yeah. we got to see.
So big shout out to everyone in the chat right now. We have 199 people in here, man. Definitely drop your likes. Right now we have Jason from Jaguars United, and also Big Game James from the Sports Den over here, just breaking down, talking some Jaguars over here. Definitely be sure to give those guys a follow on Twitter. Steve Boss with another $5 donation. Ward and Smoot, since he dropped weight plus yeah. So Ward and Smoot, they're a couple of outside linebackers. Damian Wilson, he's an inside linebacker. I think I mean, when I was at training camp, they were like rotating him and Joe Schobert out a lot. So I think Damian Wilson, the guy we got from the Chiefs, I mean, I think he's going to have some pretty good impact when it comes to actually being in some kind of rotation this year.
Is it just me, or, I mean, when I think about that 3-4 defense, like, yeah, I mean, in base personnel, maybe on 1st and 10, ideally you have a 3-4, but and most of the time, you're going to be in that 3-3-5 with that extra defensive back on the field, and you're going to have one of those big linebackers on the field. And depending on who's better in coverage between Chason, Allen, or whoever you want with these guys you brought in, what's going to be more important than that front seven, if we can stop the run, is who that nickel defensive back and who that extra defensive back is going to be. And I know there's flux at safety, who's going to play in the box, who's going to play middle of the field free, because I get the feeling that Cologne's going to want to play a lot of that cover one, one high shell. I mean, I don't know, maybe cover 3 in some situations. But like, who do you think ends up playing that like nickel corner and that box? Who ends up playing like close to the line of scrimmage in the secondary?
I think it's got to be Buddy from the rookie from Syracuse.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely a box safety guy, man. How physical he is.
And you know, a lot of people again, this draft is going to make. We call it Ben Bulk. What's his name? Trent Bulky. Trent Bulky. It's gonna make Trent Bulky either look, even though it's still Urban's guys, look like a genius or look like an idiot, because you got a lot of guys with tremendous upside that are coming off of injury. But and I think Cisco, right, is the kid from Syracuse.
Yeah, Andre Cisco. Yeah,
and that's the guy who I had a couple of Syracuse fans like actually tell me like, "Yo, nah, before he got hurt, he was the truth. He's this, he's that." And I went back and watched a little film on him, and he's actually good. And I've heard good stuff about him in camp. So he's the guy that you kind of have to have him be able to help you in those run situations, and he can cover. He's physical, and he can bring the heat. So that's what you gotta have it. And you're right. Even with the 3-3, so there are gonna be times when that 3-4 gives a 4-3 look with just a guy with a DN that's standing up. The 3-3-5 is gonna, or a 3-3-5, 3 stack guy with one. It's a bunch of different combos you can put into it, and I think like that's the problem is I don't know our defensive coordinator for being a defensive guru like that, and I don't know if our personnel is good enough to be able to like hold off on the stuff. So that's where it gets kind of scary, and that's why I'm saying like it's like you got to stay base in the preseason. But I'm coming out with my best guys, and I'm gonna show that the fans that we can whoop ass, and like hopefully, hold on to it, and then show like the exotic stuff in the season. But like right now, it's all. I mean, but then again, that's the fun of having podcasts and doing radio shows and writing articles because it's all speculation. Everybody's going to the Super Bowl right now. Well,
and over here we can say whatever the hell we want. We're not going to get reprimanded for anything.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I got caught in the principal's office a couple times.
Can you give us any stories, or is that are you?
Oh yeah, they're gonna fire me. They'll cut my show.
All right, so maybe tell us like what do you want to do moving forward? Like ideally, perfect world. What does Big Game James have in store for the future?
What we're gonna do with the Sports Den is hopefully, try to be as good as you guys. And you obviously have, I appreciate you guys reaching out, having us on. We'll come on in a more organized standpoint as well.
We love it.
And I know Denny would be a great guy, a great guest to have. But the Sports Den, when we got into this, neither one of us wanted to get into it and be like with the aspirations of being ESPN. I want to do media. I like media. I like creating content. So that's what we're going to do with our Sports Den Live platform is create content and create content that's unique to our region. So Jacksonville, Tallahassee, or the Orlando, Tampa area, Athens, and use what we've built with our careers. So like I have fifth quarter media, which we do national stuff, but like I have a relationship with Florida State that very few people have. I played it. I was a fan. I cover it. I go to every game, throw tailgates, do all kinds of stuff. So we're going to talk about those things. And a lot of these coaches that we know are more likely to come on us with a YouTube channel than they are, believe it or not, with an actual radio station that's like what's 1010 is pushed by CBS now as opposed to ESPN. So if we say something and it's clippable, it's going to go national. It's going to go viral overnight because CBS network will pick it up. But that's not always the best thing when you're a college coach. The things that we know and the players we know with the Jags will come to hang out with us at our lounge and talk to us candidly and maybe do like a TikTok like that. But they're not coming into 1010 Excel and speaking. And in the same, and vice versa. So like those are the things that we plan on doing. So our YouTube channel, I think before tonight's show, we were at 522. So we're trying to, get that up to over 1,000 so we can do the super chat and stuff like that. But we're going to add some other shows that show our everyday life and the coolness and the cool parts about it that show you the athletes that you and some of the people that you like, and then it's a conversational piece. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say I am athlete because that's like cliche right now, but like I guess it's like I am athlete, but with the sports den twist and unfiltered. So like I think like I know a lot of people care about what Blake Bortles is doing now, like not necessarily like as a player, but like Denny's got a unique relationship with Blake, and we're going to interview Blake, and we'll talk to Blake, and Blake will probably talk to us different than he talked to you guys too, but he'll talk to us different than he's going to talk to Frangie, not just to use him as an example. And media is getting old. The medium of eventually terrestrial radio will go away. It's dope. Don't get me wrong. We love that, but like we are the future when it comes to that. And what I've found is when we did other shows, people liked our show better than the show that was in that slot because it was new, hip, and refreshing. So that's why, that's what we want to do, and we want to be able to help. That's my goal. My goal is just to be able to come in, continue to do what I'm doing with First Coast News. I don't know. There are other stations that are courting me, so maybe do another.
I like it.
You heard it here first, guys.
But I do want. But the one thing that the sports den is me and Denny, and we're going to continue the sports den no matter what. I'm just not going back to 1010 XL, and I'll even say the real reason is because if I played at Florida State, I played for the legendary Bobby Bowden. If you listen, they had a special on the legendary Bobby Bowden.
Yeah, the Sunday show or whatever.
I've gotten called. I got called by 690. I got called by First Coast News. I got called by News for Jacks. I got called by Chuck Oliver doing national radio. I did 3 shows on XM, Sirius XM. I did an ACC national show with the station that I worked for. Didn't even think to pick up the phone, or actually haven't even gotten a text to ask me if I'm okay about losing my coach. So that's the only reason. Other than that, I mean, professionally, it was dope. I don't have no beef with certain people. I just feel disrespected when it comes to that. So if I'm not respected, it doesn't matter. There's not a lot of, they don't pay that. They don't pay that much. I can promise you that. Y'all probably just made more on your super chats than most of the shows make. Most of the guys made per show. So still some great people over there. But James Coleman, and I don't care if they see it or not, or tell them, text line, doesn't matter to me. Can't none of them fight me. Well, they can get me right now with COVID. Give me 3 weeks, and maybe only Leon can get me. but that's my dog too. But that's the whole purpose. The whole goal is, again, is we want to grow the sports den medium and the sports den platform. So appreciate you guys letting me come on and hop on and talk to you, to talk a little bit of Jags football while we're in our transition.
Yeah, man. And I went ahead and posted the link to your YouTube channel over here so everybody can, it's actually pinned at the top of the chat, guys. So definitely go over there, whether you're watching it now or you're watching on replay, man. Definitely go show those guys some love, man. Let's get those numbers up, and let's just, support our Jacksonville community, man. They're going to be obviously coming out with a bunch of Jaguars coverage, and obviously we don't get enough of that. So definitely go over there and check that out. Had a couple of super chats coming. I do want to mention. Be new with a $20 donation. Says just showing love, bro. Duval, thank you, man. Also, nobody important dropped $2. He says anything on CJ? Not yet. He's showing up to camp, and that's about it. We'll see what happens after that. But
yeah. I mean, I wanted to say thanks for coming on, James. I mean, you guys are awesome. I mean, literally the only show, like I said earlier, that I make sure I listen to. Man, I mean, people watch my channel because I give a watered down X's and O's breakdown of some plays and things like that. You guys put me to shame. So, I mean, I really respect you guys, everything you do. Anything we can do for you guys. I mean, I'm here in Jacksonville, so anything we can do for you guys to hook y'all up, sound equipment, recording, anything like that. Don't ignore the Matt Jones jersey in the background. It's kind of a joke at this point, but it's just it is what it is. But anything we can do for you guys, we love you, and thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. We'll have our setup. We got a place that we had our Jags draft party with a lot of players. We're going to use that as just. We made this decision. Actually, Sunday. Sunday was when it became official because Today's Tuesday. So yeah, I've been home. I've been back in Jacksonville a week today. And you know, me and Denny talked, and we talked, and then Sunday, I felt the Sundays when it really hit the fan, and then we're just like, bump this. We're gonna do this, and let's hop on Monday. And it was supposed to be like a Bowden tribute, but then it became like, wait a minute, nobody knows what the hell we've been doing, and people have been like asking for a few weeks. So we did a decent show on Monday. I think Monday's show was good. I think the show we did today was good. Friday we'll do something. The next week we'll do a true Bowden tribute. But you know, it's like, again, I want to, harp on this from a show perspective. Nothing bad happened with 10-10. It was a Jaguars programming thing. Jaguars wanted more time, and it's the Urban Meyer show from the station of the Jaguars or Sportsnet. So it's like, all right, we're the low man on the totem pole. We ain't beating Urban. Ain't nobody that popular. No matter how popular we are. But when we saw a lot of people reaching out, and we, again, like saying what you were saying, Jason, and we just felt like maybe we bet on ourselves. If it works, it works. It's great. We'll have sports there for a while. If it doesn't, it'd have been a hell of an experiment that was still fun, and people would talk about, at whatever the hell happened to those guys that were just always ranking on Mad Dads.
Well, how could y'all possibly compare with Helmet and Heels? I mean, they just put y'all to shame with their knowledge and insight. So, I can't. That Tuesday night slot is hard to keep up with.
I'll bite my lip, but I like those girls, man. I got no quarrels with anybody in particular. The only names I've mentioned were a joke. Like Leon I love Big Leon, even though he's a Hurricane and he's a natural rival. But like you said, my beef is more. I'm a man I try to show everybody respect, and I anything I do is from a professional standpoint and strictly critiquing. So like even when I bash like guys like Taven, I don't really dislike Taven. I just really dislike the way he plays football, and it bothers me. And he's getting paid for it. So when I talk, like, it's not that I want to like fight him one day. I just don't like the fact that he's stealing money. But it's not his fault that he got drafted either. It's his fault that he's not any good consistently. So like, again, trying to keep it that way. And I just think, again, that's kind of where we're at with that. But now we appreciate the support. Please subscribe. And again, anything that I could do for you guys, and I know Denny will say the same thing, that we could do to continue to cross promote platforms. It's all about putting the best content out for the product out. And if people are gonna rock with it, they're gonna rock with it. And something I know we want to do too. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it on social media. I want to throw a Jaguar tailgate. I don't know what game, but I throw a hell of a tailgate for FSU. We're gonna throw a hell of a Jaguar tailgate. It'll be dope to have all the top podcasts come out there, and we just have some good food. We bring the libations with ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Actually, at the end of the day, that's all that mattered to us.
Y'all always making me want to stop by, bro.
When ABC said we're going where y'all going, we got hella confident. I can tell you that, but because that check is good. The ABC check,
bro. Y'all had me driving home on a weeknight, like, man, I need to go by ABC, man. This is a good.
Yeah, man. That's the best thing. That's the gift that keep on giving. So that's how we have our alcohol, and our show sounds a lot better when you go to ABC and you start drinking a little bit. So, but now appreciate you guys. I gotta go try to get these kids to bed for school, man. And
awesome.
Again, man, anytime y'all want me on, man, just let me know. I'll hop on.
Awesome, man. Hey, appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks, James.
All right. Big shout out to Big Game James. Dude, we made it semi big, right? Pretty big.
Dude, I mean, I feel like we made it pretty big.
I listen to him on 1010 XL, and like, I mean, I don't listen to many other people on the SoundCloud app, so I feel a little starstruck over here.
Him and Denny are literally like, I mean, I said it when he was on the show. Legit, it's the only show that I made sure I listened to. The rest of them, I could like. I mean, I like the drill in the morning, but dude, literally, like if the Sports Den was on, I would just sit in my car in my driveway because I was like, I don't really want to open up the app. I'm just gonna hear the rest of this segment. I want to hear what James has to say. So, man, I'm pumped, man. I'm glad that worked out.
So, guys, we want to go ahead and answer a bunch of questions, man. Really, the last 15 minutes of the stream. Thanks, guys, for being here. Jackson donated $5 about 5 minutes ago. Says, how long will it take for the Jags to make it to the championship? Hope we sign Thomas. Honestly, next year, 2022, sky's the limit. You know, you got Trevor Lawrence going into his second year. I think, it took Mahomes, 2 years to reach the Super Bowl after he kind of sat. I mean, the roster, that's really this year. It's all about, okay, let's win some games, and then you're going to evaluate your roster, see where you're at, and then you're going to plug the holes through free agency, and then you're going to hopefully draft some players that, can kind of complement the team all around the area. And then boom, we can make a run.
Yeah, for sure. My timeline has been like year 2 on the high end, year 3 on the realistic end, just because it's going to take some time for Urban to get his guys in. I mean, how long does it, when you think about college coaches, you want to give them a whole recruiting cycle? That's 4 years, right? So I'll give Urban 2 or 3, and I think he'll have his guys in. If he's starting to allure the guys of like Michael Thomas, I know he was doing some like lip service toward the Bosa brothers when he first got hired. If he can start bringing in guys like that to this team, 2 years for sure. And I hope we sign Thomas as well. And
shout out to It's Reese, man. He threw a $5 donation in right when big game. Dude, that's hard to say. Big game James came on. Big game James. Right when he came on, I wasn't able to give you a shout out, but you're here right now, man. Big shout out to you. Really, really do appreciate that. But guys, if you have questions, man, just throw them down here, man. We'll probably be on. Is it cool? Another 15 minutes. Is that cool with you?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Tekken is my world with a $2 donation. You doing another members only hangout soon? Yeah, I'll get on that, man. Definitely in the next 2 weeks, I'll throw something together. I know I haven't done one in a little bit, just because there really hasn't been a lot to talk about. But yeah, man, if we'll do that again soon. And obviously, if you guys want to get inside the fantasy football league, just let me know, man. David says, if we get Thomas next year, we'll have 4 primetime players, except 2022, where there's at least 7 to 8 key players assigned again. Yeah, so I don't know what the definition of primetime is. All pro. I know hopefully we'll have at least 2 with Trevor Lawrence, but I would say Miles Jack. Miles Jack is a primetime guy. He's so good, but he doesn't get the credit for it. And then hopefully we have someone else emerge kind of out of that whole funk.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like guys that other teams would want. Trevor Lawrence, Miles Jack, DJ Chark if he's healthy, Shaq Griffin if he plays well. Those are the top 4 I can think of. Thomas would be another guy there. And the thing about these guys like Balky and Meyer is like they're looking ahead to 2022, 2023. We as fans kind of get consumed with what's happening this year, this season, how many wins we're going to have. Those guys are looking long term. They're making moves that are affecting next year. So, yeah, I think the players having to re-sign in 2022 isn't a big of a deal because we have a new regime and coaching staff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a big I don't know, last year, this year, like really during the free agency, we were all like, okay, this is going to be like, Jaguars, or Meyer wants to win now. He's going to sign all these guys. But they didn't, man. They waited a day or two to sign their first big guy. And they weren't like, it was like cornerback, safety. They signed some, defensive line, some like guys that weren't even like high caliber. It was like, okay, these guys are behind guys like Khalil Mack, or, Malcolm Brown is behind some guys. It's like, okay, they're going to bring in some guys that, right now are very high-end backups. They're going to hold down those positions. We're going to evaluate them, but the next year, man, that's when we're going to go out there and really get like the impact type players.
Yeah, for sure. I think they know their window. They know their window is 22, 23, and they're going to, that's why they didn't go after interior D linemen, like you said. Players like Josh Allen are going to, take that next step forward. Allen, yeah. So, not worried about this team really at all, to be honest.
Yeah. And I just really hope we stay healthy, man, because I don't know if it's just the biased fan in me, but I think we can make a decent run, especially just the main thing is also just the AFC South. Like, we don't have the Bills. We don't have like the Chiefs. Like, we have the Titans who, Titans have some room for regression. And then, the Colts are always just like, a little bit disappointing in my eyes. It's like first round playoff exit type of team, but I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty decent about next year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you got look, I mean, the NFL, we know your team is only as good as your quarterback. I mean, there's the rare exceptions. I mean, Justin Herbert kind of went off last year and their team couldn't win, but that team was like dog water, right? So this team is not in as bad as position as they were. So look, if Trevor can get it together and figure out the playbook and get up to speed with the NFL offenses and defenses, there's no reason why this team can't win at least 8 games.
Yeah. Tuggernut says, I'm trying to stay realistic and not get my hopes too high, but I can't help but be high for the season. Just want to see us be competitive this year. Yeah, you're in the exact right mindset. You are not at fault for getting excited and getting hyped and getting your hopes up. I mean, I'm there too. Even last year, even in 2020, I wasn't going in just being like, okay, we're gonna suck and just what. I mean, I looked at it, I said, okay, obviously things aren't trending very well. But I mean, what could happen? What Gardner Minshew could be the answer. Our rookies could play like unreal. You know what I mean? We could avoid the injury bug, but you know what I mean? It obviously unraveled pretty quick. And by quick, I mean about week 3. And then that's when it was like, okay, you know, do I want to root for us to be 6-10 or do I just want to jump on the grenade, you know, and just root for us to lose? And, you know, it was interesting. Southside Jaguar with a $5 donation. When will we trade Minshew and what can we get for him? I mean, right now, I mean, I just got to say this. I mean, we might need him to be backup because our other guys are just awful. I mean, CJ Beathard, man, what a waste of money he's been. I don't know. I think he's a trade deadline guy. I think he's a guy that, you know, a quarterback gets hurt, a team panics, and then they give something for him. But I don't know. I mean, I would probably unload him for, I don't know, a 3rd or a 4th. I mean, definitely 3rd. I'd have to see what team to be a 4th round pick. But and the way I look at it is if Trevor Lawrence goes down, we're doomed. I mean, we're not winning a Super Bowl with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I don't care what Jason says. Jason's gonna be out here saying, "Oh, he's elite. He can come in here. He can win us some game." I know him. I know he's got an affinity for Gardner Minshew and really wants him to start week 1. But
I was just waiting for my turn to talk. To answer your question,
I'm gonna let you talk. I gotta change my camera battery real quick. So
Gardner Minshew has tremendous trade value. I mean, think about, okay, let's just take the microcosm of the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins drafted Tua at 5 overall. Okay, so 5 overall. I mean, it's not 1 overall, but it's close, right? There's not that many picks between 1 and 5. And when you take a guy 5 overall, your fan base is probably demanding they start right away and they're the future and all of that stuff. And what did the Dolphins do? They started Ryan Fitzpatrick. They started him for a couple games. He had a winning record. They moved on and they started Tua like out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden you have this debate on how much value Fitzpatrick has. I could see that happening. Like I could see, look, I don't want it to happen. I want Lawrence to start. Preseason game 1, all the preseason games, week 1. But if I'm trying to get in the mind of Urban, I could see the guy rolling out Minshew there for a couple series. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. I have no statistical basis on it. It just seems like Urban Meyer is going to do things differently than everyone else. So we can get a 3rd or 4th for him to answer your question.
The thing is, like, really, I don't think Urban Meyer was planning on keeping Minshew going into the season. That's why he paid CJ Beathard all that money. But CJ Beathard's been bad, and then Gardner Minshew's been pretty decent. Now, my thing with Gardner Minshew is like, and I even saw this when I was at the training camp practice. I literally don't think he can see the middle of the field. Like, and I'm not even like joking around about it. Like, he doesn't look in the middle. And then, you know, there's guys like Russell Wilson and Drew Brees that are pretty good about, you know, going in between the guys and they can anticipate stuff, read defenses very well. Like, I mean, Minshew, I mean, his main thing is just throwing out routes, throwing toward the sidelines. And I don't know. His tape last year wasn't that good. And I will never forgive Urban Meyer if he starts. I will, even if we win a Super Bowl, I'm not going to forgive him for making my ass fly out to Houston for week 1 and seeing Gardner Minshew, Roomba under a desk chair, Minshew try to go out there and shot put the ball to different guys. I'm not going to like that.
I love that metaphor of a Roomba, and I hope for your sake that he's not starting either, and I hope for my sake that he's not starting either. I don't want to see Minshew out there. I'm just saying I could see it. I can see Urban doing it, but I hope not. I mean, even like just looking at all of the quarterbacks, like when there's any kind of film on Twitter or any Instagram or whatever, like it doesn't take long to pick out Trevor Lawrence because he's the most quarterback-looking quarterback out of the entire group. So, Urban came here for Trevor Lawrence, so there's no doubt in my mind he'll be the starter very soon.
Yeah, I don't. I know you see it. I don't see it. And like you said, like, oh, I can see Meyer doing something like this. Like, I can't see him. Like, I see guys like a Robert Saleh coming in there and being like, okay, we're gonna start this guy for a little bit, and then we're gonna go to the starter. It's like I just don't see it. I think Urban is a smart enough guy because I consider myself a smart guy, and I know what's right. So I think Urban Meyer, on the other hand, is also gonna know what is up. But I do love the Gardner Minshew discussion. You guys always bring it. I love it. I love it so much. And I think Southside Jaguar low key just did that just so he could hear me rant about Minshew. You see, he was with me. Like Gardner Minshew was throwing autograph balls. I was like, if I catch one, I'm just gonna punt it, or give it to a little kid. Like, here you go. Oh, I got a nope, this is mine.
Well, we'll see. He's definitely giving us some things to talk about for sure. That's good.
Yeah. And I'm excited. I'm just really excited for the preseason game, man. And just so you guys know, I'm going to be live streaming it on the channel. I'll do some live reaction, play by play, and just kind of. It's not going to be as intense. I'm probably just going to be sitting at this spot, just watching with you guys because the games get pretty boring pretty quick, especially when we have Jake Luton throwing the ball to Josh Hammond, and then. We have to have the Josh Hammond practice squad discussion. But, Jesus is King. Gardner reminds me of Ben Stiller in the movie Dodgeball. Dude, that's a good. He looks more like Ben Stiller in Dodgeball than Uncle Rico. And I'm trying to think who I was going to try to I was going to try to compare someone to that ugly ass girl with the unibrow.
Oh,
I was going to be like Mike Glennon or something. Dude, there's this fly in my room. Get out of here. Sorry. I will cancel my Ruth Chris reservations.
Oh, we got a rich boy in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, man. What's up with that? Where's that invite? I like the Walter White
party.
I do like the Walter White Avi. Gardner would be a better quarterback in a movie, not real life. Yeah, that's probably true. Or remember when he got that offer to do like porn or whatever? I don't know if he accepted that, but maybe he might be needing the money pretty soon.
I'm sure it's a Google search away, my friend.
Yeah. But guys, we'll be on here for a couple more minutes, man. I'm here with Jason from Jaguars United, man. We're definitely going to try to do more of these shows really during the season, man. There's going to be hopefully an exciting season, man, because as we all know, it's, in the past, it's been, just another week of this guy sucks, that guy sucks, fire this guy.
How
Todd
sick
Wash
was it
sucks.
to have Big Game James, though, dude?
That was
cool.
Cool.
Sick, bro. We got some inside on the radio station. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. He's gonna spill all the beans about about what really goes on in the 1010 XL, inside of there. So you guys are gonna want to get the inside deets over on the Sports Den on their YouTube channel. I had their thing pinned, their channel pinned. So and it's cool having guys on like that because they look, and I'm just some random dude that started my channel in Orlando, came out of nowhere, and I have really just one of the most popular Jags podcast type of things out there. So, and it's because of you guys, man. You guys come here, you guys show out, you guys make me look better and look smarter than I actually am. The Canon camera definitely helps me bring out the good side in me because I think my looks are better than my takes, but that's for you guys to decide.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was so sick, dude. I was like, dude, I know, dude, and I want to get Denny on, bro. Denny will blow your mind with X's and O's, bro. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, he's actually trains like Gardner Minshew and all these guys. And does he train Trevor Lawrence at all?
I mean, he posted pictures of him at his facility. So, I mean, that's all I know.
Yeah. And what do they do? Because I've seen kind of where's their facility at? Is he at an indoor practice?
Yeah, so he's
field?
got this like indoor facility that he like rents, I believe, and basically it's just like turf field. It's like 30 yards of turf field, and he has like all the quarterbacks in Jacksonville. They like train there. So his Instagram is like 6 points quarterback training, and like you can go on there and you can see like every quarterback that's come out of Jacksonville for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Southside Jaguar says, gotta mess with you, bro. So he definitely threw that donation in there because he knows how much I hate the Gardner Minshew discussion. And I'm going on record. I mean, I'm not holding back from the fact that he was the worst quarterback for us last year. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I'll just say this. After the first 2 games of the year, our most competitive games were the games where he wasn't in there.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And some of those games, including the Vikings, the Packers, the Browns, not these scrub ass teams, but I'm just gonna.
We also had a backup
out here.
We also had a backup quarterback throw like 4 interceptions in a game. So I mean,
that was bad. I wish he had redemption though. They did him wrong. They should have let him come back like in week 17. Like let him start week 17. There's no reason to start Glenn in that game. You know what I mean?
I think Glennon gave him their best chance at losing, to be honest.
And honestly, sometimes it's fun just watching interceptions, man. I mean, you can't tell me if Nate Peterman was like starting one game, that would not be must-watch television for you because sometimes it's fun watching really, really bad quarterbacks.
I think Nate Peterman trains with Denny, so you better be careful. You might not be able to get him on here because I think he hangs out with them.
Yeah, probably. Trevor's headband. UCF, it's been 4 years. When are you going to start putting highlights in your vids? If YouTube did not demonetize my videos, I probably would. And editing is not my strong suit, guys. Usually I get about, unlike today, I usually get about 2 hours to make and pump out a video. Sometimes I'll edit. The first half is edited and the last half is not. In case you guys notice, I mean, sometimes I just say, okay, I'm running out of time. I just need to get it out. But, my takes, a lot of people, I think a lot of people just turn it on and put their phone down and just listen. That's kind of more what I'm out here for. MJD needs to be in a pride already. Yeah, I think it's going to be soon. But all right, guys, I think we're going to end it here, man. It's been an hour, 37 minutes. It's 10:37 p.m. east on the east side of the United States. Jason, thanks so much for coming on, man. Dude, hopefully we can do it again sometime.
I had a great time, bro. I'm down anytime.
Yeah. And Southside Jaguar with a buzzer beater dono in here. He says Minshew and CJ package deal to one team for what? I mean, my eyes are CJ to Saints, and I don't think Saints would take in Minshew. I mean, they have probably too many slightly above average quarterbacks and not enough elite quarterback play. But I don't know. I mean, can you think of any team at the top of your head that would take a CJ Minshew trade?
I mean, do the Eagles? They have no quarterback. I mean, they're going to try.
I think they're along with like the Lions and the Texans that really aren't trying to win.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because aren't the Eagles in the exact same situations as Jags last year? Like, They got rid of some guy they paid a lot of money to, and they had this other guy that they drafted just to say, okay, the fans like him. Just throw him out there. Let's see what he is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same exact situation.
For sure.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Southside Jaguar. You're too kind. Also, it's really good meeting you. And thanks everybody for today, man. Thanks for all the views, all the likes. Also, everybody who threw in some super chats in here. Those are always greatly appreciated. And with that said, guys, go Jaguars. And if I don't see you until Saturday, I will see you Saturday.